Hello, Internet. I'm an even weirder move, and I've got a solution for a problem that you probably have. Do you have someone in your gaming group that's like this?
You've been explaining the rules for like 5 minutes already. Can we just start playing?
Then have I got the game for you. Pina Pirata from Donald X Vaccarino and Yellow Games starts with no rules, almost at all, any of them. So you can just start playing and learn the rules as you go along because the rules will start to exist as you go along. So that's pretty cool, right? When you open up Pina Pirata, you're going to find this little rule book, which is just a sheet of paper. It's got a lot of text on it, but really it's kind of ridiculous that it has that much. There's almost no need for it because this game is a simplified version of an already extremely simple game, Crazy Eights or Uno. So you have these lovely tarot-sized cards here with lovely art on the back and lovely art on the front. And every card is going to have either one or two pirates of different anthropomorphized animal pirate species. So this one's got this turtle guy here who's a sort of sail. He's got a compass thing. I don't know, a navigator or something. And then you got this cannon walrus here who seems like he has a cannon arm, or he's just holding it under his. I don't know. He's very intimidating. So each card is going to have two of those guys. The parrot and the... Does that parrot have a peg? A parrot has a peg leg. That's ridiculous. Or the baboon guy there. Anyway, so you're going to get some of these cards to start with. Everyone's going to get 8 of them. And then, from the top of the deck, you're going to flip over one of these. It's got 2 different pirates on it, and you're going to pick who goes first. And they're going to play a card from their hand that's got one of those 2 pirates on it, and they're going to play it on top of there like that. And then the next player is going to play a card that's got one of those 2 pirates on it. And it's going to go around, and if you can't play a card, then you're going to draw a card. And if you don't have any more cards left, then you win the round. And that's the end of that. And that's the entire game. That's all of the rules of the game. That's all of them. All the rules, that is, except for all of these rules. And there's actually a lot more than this in the box. There's a huge, big stack of these tiles. Whenever I went around, I'm going to get to look at 2 tiles from this stack, and I'm going to get to pick which rule do I want to add to the game. Do I want to add Maelstrom? Whenever I play a monkey, each player gives all the cards in their hand to the player on their left. Or would I rather play with the Acrobats rule? I can play a parrot on a monkey, even if the cards have no other pirate in common. So I'm going to pick one of those and say, alright, maybe I want this Acrobats one. That sounds like it's interesting. Put that in the middle, and that's now a rule of the game for the rest of the game. And we're going to keep going until we're done playing, I guess. There is an end condition you can play with. The game suggests 2 modes, I guess, of play. One is the cruise mode, where you play until no one wants to anymore, which is, I think, the way that this game works better. And then the other way is that you play until someone has achieved 4 of these tiles and they fit together like a lovely thing and become a beautiful treasure. I can't even... I'm sorry. I want to make this happen, but it's really hard for me. There we go. Come together like a beautiful treasure map, and then that person wins. As it turns out, playing until someone's won 4 rounds when you have 6 people takes kind of a long time, so I would suggest not doing that. Another thing I would suggest not doing is thinking that this is like a gamer filler type of game. This really is just Uno plus, right? Like, it's a lot better than Uno, I think, but just because the changing of the rules is an interesting thing to me. But if you're playing with people that would be unhappy tremendously to be playing Uno, then they would also be tremendously unhappy to be playing this, probably. The one exception I can think of is somebody... Well, actually, let me tell you why I enjoy this game. So, in college, I used to play a card game called Mao, and most of the game of Mao was figuring out what the rules were. So you're not supposed to talk about the rules, and the fact that I'm making this video is talking about them to an extent where I will have to draw cards next time I play, if someone's seen this. You basically play like very bare bones version of Crazy Eights, except for every time somebody wins, they get to make up a rule, and it's really just honor keeping them from making the rule be, I win, So they make some other rule where it's like, oh, 5 switch direction, or 7 skip 2 people, or something like that. Make up some rule, and then they just enforce that on people without really telling them what it is. So you played a 7, and then someone else tried to take their turn, and then, so-and-so says, oh, it's not your turn, penalty card. And they have to accept it and figure out what happened that made that be the reality that they're now living in. And so then once you'd figured out all the rules that people made up, and you'd figured out that you were making up rules as the game goes along, and you'd figured out all that stuff, what you would do is find somebody that didn't know the game and then inflict it on them. But that wasn't the fun part for me, although I suspect it was the fun part for most people, the sort of hazing aspect of the game. The fun part for me was putting a bunch of different rules together and watching them interact and watching just crazy, crazy stuff happen. And there's a few games that can give you that kind of experience, but a lot of them are so chaotic that they seem like they're completely uncontrolled. For example, something like Flux, the rules are constantly changing according to different cards, but you can't take advantage of it. And whenever something cool does happen, it never really feels like that person had a whole bunch of choice in the matter, I guess. So if you're the kind of person that would look at the rules that were out, look at a couple of rules tiles here and say, oh wow, this one, if you have a rabbit card on every card in your hand at the end of your turn, you win, goes really well with whenever you play a monkey, give a card to the player on your left, and there's one where you play a rat, you can pick up the top card of the discard pile, or draw 2 cards and discard 1, and you put stuff together to be cool and interesting. If you like doing that, then you'll probably have fun with this game whether or not you win. But if what you're looking for in a filler game is kind of to have a short game where your tactics are going to make you win, I would caution you not to forget that in Pina Pirata, you draw 8 cards and whoever gets rid of their cards first wins. And you're just sometimes going to have a way better hand than someone else. So calm down, I guess, and maybe reconsider buying this if that's the person you are. But I'm going to keep it because, I don't know, I have fun assembling chaotic, fun machines out of the rule tiles and pulling them back and letting go and watching what happens. And then when we're done playing it, we can just quit and nobody will feel upset by that. But be warned, if anybody tries to sell this game to you as Gamers Uno, it's not really Gamers Uno, it's just better Uno. So, if that sounds like a recommendation to you, check out Pina Pirata. If it doesn't, then maybe don't check it out. Anyway, that's Pina Pirata from Yellow Games and Donald X. Vaccarino. Talk to you guys later. Hey, by the way, Donald X came on Board Game Geek forums and he said that his personal playing of the game had been in a variant of the cruise mode. So you play until you're done playing, where you draw 3 tiles and pick one instead of drawing 2 and pick one. And if you have a really ridiculous hand, you just reset the rules to 2. So I played it a few times using the rules in the box, and I played it a lot using those rules. And I do think those rules are better. So if you do decide to pick this up, I would go ahead and use those variants. So, yeah.